Hey family, recovering addict named Billy P. It's been a minute since I've done one of these. I just recently came back from Kentucky. I was down there and I spoke at a couple of school events. I spoke at an event in the judicial system about truths and consequences, and who better to bring the message than somebody who's been there. You know, while I was there, I love hunting, and that's how we feed our family here. We haven't bought meat in over 9 years from the store. We harvest our animals out of the fields and the woods, and I had a very blessed time in Kentucky. And while I was there, I had horrible internet hookup, and I couldn't do any videos while I was there. And when I came home, I noticed the messages that I was getting from other people, and the messages that I was getting from other people, you know, they were like, "Hey, are you okay? You know, we haven't seen a video in a while. You know, your videos help us, and you know, don't think that what you're doing isn't helping other people, because you know it's going all over the place. And we can make a difference, man." That's what it tells me. It tells me that recovery is possible for everybody. It tells me that nobody can understand us better than we can understand ourselves, and nobody can help us better than we can help each other. It's a we thing, not an I thing. You know, I had one person send me a message, and it was from Australia, and they said, "Hey, you know, your videos are over here in Australia, you know, and I ain't seen one in a while. I'm just making sure that you're okay." It touched me. It touched me. Back when I was in active addiction, nobody even wanted me around. 20 years, nobody wanted me around. Now in recovery, getting into the solutions, getting away from the problem, people start to want you around. You become family. Instead of bringing a mess, you can bring a message. And today's message, rock bottom. I was told November 11th, 2004, that I had to know what my rock bottom was. Or maybe it wasn't my rock bottom. I was told that I had to remember when the last time that I used was, or maybe it wasn't going to be the last time that I used. Well, I can assure you the last time that this dope fiend used was November 10th, 2004. Because November 11th, 2004 was the first time that I made it through a day in over 20 years without putting something in my body to change the way that I think or the way that I feel. I know that when I went into this program of recovery and they started talking about rock bottom, and I had no idea what my rock bottom was. I know that while I was growing up, my parents and my loved ones, through everything that I've been through in these 20 years of active addiction, they would say things like, "Well, this has got to be his rock bottom." Let me tell you something. We can take some pain, we can feel some pain, we can run from some pain, and we can hide from some pain. Nobody knows what somebody else's rock bottom is. That's a choice that the individual has to make for him or herself. A lot of people in my family thought that my rock bottom would have been in 1994, going into 1995. I was in a bad car accident in Flint, Michigan. I woke up in Hurley Medical Center. I lost my left kidney. My spleen was severely damaged. My lungs collapsed twice. I slept for a number of days. I was in that hospital for over a month. Now, you would think at that, going through all of that, that would be one's rock bottom. It wasn't. As soon as I was able to get back on my feet and go out there, I did what I've always done, and I've always gotten what I've always gotten. If nothing changes, then nothing changes. I ran out there and I fed my disease, and I continued moving on. Whatever normal is, besides a setting on a washing machine, a normal person might say, "Oh, well, that's got to be his rock bottom." And I'm sorry, but it wasn't. You know, and as this process of recovery was taking place for me, I had to ask myself, you know, what is my rock bottom? What was my rock bottom? I came up with my rock bottom was the last 8 years out of the 20 years that I got high and that I drank. I can play the end of any one of them tapes, and the ending was always the same. I was alone. I was broke. I was full of shame, embarrassment, anger, pain. Nobody wanted me around. I couldn't stand the person that I was looking at in the mirror. I couldn't stand the things that I had done. I just simply wanted to die. The last 8 years out of the 20 years that I was out there drinking and ripping and roaring, those were the end of my tape. So in reality, my rock bottom was 8 years long. It was miserable. You could say, man, do you really think that that's your rock bottom? And I can say, I don't think it. I know it. I know that that's my rock bottom. You see, I believe this. I believe that pain is a motivator. I believe that when a person is tired of the pain or has had enough of the pain, that's when he or she will become willing to do things different. That's when he or she will become willing to make some changes in their life because they don't want that pain anymore. I reached that point November 11th, 2004, where I didn't want that pain no more. Whether it was I was tired of it or just because I've just simply had enough. The 8 years that were my rock bottom, I had no enablers. Nobody was paying my rent. Nobody was paying my bills. Nobody was bailing me out. I had to face all the consequences for all of my poor choices and my poor decisions that I was making in active addiction. I had to face up to it. Nobody was there to bail me out. I didn't have a get high free card. I already gave everybody away to this disease. And that helped me feel the pain that I really needed to feel for me to finally say, I'm done. Y'all know how I feel about relapse. It's not a requirement. Yes, it happens. And it's not a part of recovery neither. It's the opposite of recovery. I'm not going to co-sign anybody's bull crap, and I can only share my experience, my strength, and my hope. But I know this. I know that in order for me to finally surrender, I know that for me to have to finally say, I have had my rock bottom. I want things to be different. Everybody who enabled me had to learn how to love me from a distance so that I could feel the pain, so that I had to answer to all of my poor choices and my poor consequences. I couldn't point the finger at nobody. That's when I said, help me. That's when I said, I need some help and I'm willing to do whatever it takes. You can't say when somebody's hit their rock bottom. Everybody's rock bottom is different. I believe this. I believe on November 11th, 2004, I walked into a boxing ring. And when I walked into that boxing ring, I walked over to the corner of that ring and I hung up my gloves. And when I hung up my gloves, I took a shovel and I placed that shovel right there in the corner of that ring along with them gloves. I walked to the center of that boxing ring and I bowed. And the crowd was going wild. And what I was doing is I was retiring. You see, the word quit was really hard for me. I never want to quit anything. That was my problem. I couldn't quit anything. I like the word retired. I'm a retired carpet farmer. I'm a retired alcoholic. I'm a retired drug addict. I'm a retired convict. I'm a retired whore, liar, and thief. I'm okay with that. I am. I enjoy my retirement today. Retirement is busy. When I went into that boxing ring and I hung them gloves up, that symbolized my first step, that I'm powerless. I don't have to fight no more. I'm done. Every time I pick it up, man, it beats me down. And when I place that shovel in the corner of that ring, it symbolizes my rock bottom. My rock bottom is when I quit digging. It's been over 11 years now today, and I haven't had to put them boxing gloves back on, and I haven't had to pick up that shovel because Lord knows it took me a long time to get out of that hole that I created. But you see, I got a 12-step program. I got a 12-step program that has taken me out of that hole. I've got a 12-step program that has helped me realize I have no business putting them boxing gloves on ever again. In fact, I don't even have to. I have a 12-step program that I know works. Helps me become the person that I was intended to be all along. You got to surrender. You got to know when your rock bottom is. If you're having a hard time with it, Put the shovel down. Quit digging. For all you family members who think that, you've got this figured out and that you can cure us and that you guys can fix us, I have news for you. You can't. We have to do it. All you're doing is prolonging the inevitable, helping some of us die. We have to feel that pain because pain's a motivator. I guess this video is talking about that rock bottom. Does the rock bottom have to be the death of your child? Does the rock bottom have to be a divorce? Does it have to be imprisonment? Does it have to be you losing your job? Does it have to be you giving everything away to this disease of addiction? Or can't your rock bottom simply be you putting down the shovel and realizing that your way sucks? Put down that shovel and quit digging. Congratulations. There's your rock bottom. Now, come and enjoy retirement with us. No addict has to die because of this disease of addiction anymore. Nobody has to use ever again. Come into the process of recovery. Ask for help. It's available to all addicts, the family members of addicts, everybody. Everybody needs restoration. I know that today I live a life that I never even thought existed, and if it did, I was excluded from it. I got a smile on my face and a twinkle in my eye. Let me tell you something. It didn't come from a pill, a bottle, a needle. I didn't smoke it or consume it or digest it. It's been given to me every day, one day at a time, because of the process of recovery. Because I refuse to pick the shovel up anymore. I enjoy retirement. Why don't you join us? Love you.